Faker still, you know, extending the game more than they need to or something like that. And we didn't see that with Longzhu IM. Nice Zed ban against Mickey. Mickey hard carrying on Zed in the finals. Other than that, of course, just generally, he's a pretty fabled solo queue player in that mid lane. And then there's the Azir ban. They were watching that last game. They were like, all right, we don't want Frozen's Azir. I mean, generally Azir are a pretty strong ban these days among the professional scene. We'll see what the other bans are. A little bit slower than they were before. CV Max wanted to take a sip of water, but he's like, oh shoot, do I have to ban it? Is it my turn again? The Fizz ban against Mickey. All eyes on Mickey from Longzhu IM. And usually when you have such a exceedingly star-studded player, I think, on your roster, I mean, that's what we saw in the beginning with Faker, was that people tried to ban him out. Of course, in the case of SKT, what we saw was that Coma succeeded in creating such a well-rounded team that while Faker had the spotlight, everyone else could carry just as well. But oftentimes, we see other, you know, bans targeting one player really kind of bringing that team down a little bit. And then the Hecarim ban against CV Max. Oh, actually also against the Jungle of Anarchy, although before I believe that was when Bowling was still playing. But they did win quite well with that Jungle Hecarim, if I remember correctly. And the Thresh ban against Ignar. You don't see Thresh bans too often. You usually see people trying to take it away. But yeah, this means LeBlanc is open. So Frozen got his LeBlanc again, but Rengar locked in instantly. Whoa, Wukong. Okay. Yeah, I guess Twitch got a buff. That he can actually hit inhibitors now with his ultimate. But Sejuani, I don't know if, I mean, Gragas is still there, Rek'Sai's still there. Sejuani's great, but I feel like she's not as top tier as those two right now. And because of that, I don't think, unless you have a really strong preference in Gragas versus Rek'Sai based on team comp or personal play style, I think, yeah, you can secure other choices here right now. Kallista's been banned out, so Lucian, pretty strong. Sivir and Lucian, it's always a gamble, but a lot of people still talk about how they prefer to take Sivir first. One, it's safer. Two, you have a lot more utility for team fights. You still do decent damage. You're simply just a little bit weaker in lane if they have a really annoying composition in the bot duo. But otherwise, Sivir basically has a little bit more utility, one would argue. Of course, a Fed Lucian can do whatever he wants, and the Culling can really help a lot too. But also with, you know, Rengar on your team, that movement speed buff and on the hunt is really going to help a lot. So Ignar says, all right, take my Thresh away. I will take that Alistar once again. Great set one against winners with that Alistar. We'll see how he does against Anarchy. The Rek'Sai taken by 2 Sin. Meanwhile, Anarchy, I mean, this is where things can get a little interesting. The biggest question is, what are you going to do about that LeBlanc? If you pick Janna, I will put all bets on you having the most deaths in the game. I mean, yeah, the move speed and everything is great with Rengar, but okay, if Rengar can kill LeBlanc first, sure, fine. Okay, thank you. I mean, Nautilus can also be burst down pretty quickly too, because especially as support, you're not going to get too many items, but okay. Leona, a little bit tankier to begin with, but mostly against armor. We'll see how that pans out. Oh, Jinx is open since Gank 0 is not in the game. But I'd say against the likes of Gragas, Rengar, and Leona, Jinx not your ideal pick. Similar with Kog'Maw. Okay, Corki or Lucian is what I would expect to see here. And Rumble. Okay, Rumble was left open, so it looks like Apple will get that. Strong top laner if he chooses to. Gnar is also still open. Maokai is still open. So all the choices that Apple will want really depends on how they want to round out their team. If it goes with Rumble, it will be double AP, but very strong double AP in both LeBlanc and Rumble. Yeah, I think Gnar's a little better though, because Gnar's ultimate is great standalone, but also doesn't have the best synergy with the team here. You're not going to have other crazy AoE abilities that you're looking for. And then going for the poke to round things out here for Longzhu with that Corki. So what are we looking at here for Anarchy? Whoa. Yasuo. Okay, Yasuo versus LeBlanc up to a certain point is also a skill matchup, because you can block either the sigil or the chains. Can't block the distortion, but later on what really matters is also getting that extra damage off of the sigil or getting that CC from the chains. Especially for Yasuo, you can't escape backwards at will, so blocking the chains can be pretty important. And yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, against any AD, Yasuo can do a lot of damage. AD carry, rather. But yeah, I'd say there's too many risk factors there. Oh, the same guy now cheering for Anarchy. So nice. He's taken the responsibility now to cheer for the non-IF team. He's probably like, oh, I was just scared to watch some League of Legends, and here I am, taking the banner for these challenger teams. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, also CV Max going for that smite teleport top. So we'll see how much he can make out of that. Obviously with, you know, especially if you go for that upgrade on your smite and whatnot, you can do a lot of damage. You can do a lot. But it, you know, it all means that you have to get there. And at the same time, the reason you don't see Rengar as much anymore is because it's relatively easier to stop him from getting there. And of course, a lot of expectations on Lyra too, filling in for Bubbling, and you know, played on OMG 2. Was trained in KT Roaster to begin with. Was on CJ and Frost. Here he is. So he's technically had professional experience. We'll see if he can help carry Anarchy in the rest of his teammates into that professional scene as well. CV Max also starting with the Wolves with his own smite there. So should be alright. Okay, so they took one golem for Longzhu. Not too much going to happen. Otherwise, we're going to see CV Max teleport into lane. Should be pretty quiet. Of course, against winners, we had that explosive level 2 fight in bottom, which led to Tucson taking him right away, but that's also not going to happen this time. Tucson taking his time, coming down from starting with the blue buff. Ah, and the classic hide and rush leap out for last hits top lane. Early ward by Frozen. I wants to make sure that he doesn't have to blow any summoners too early. Mickey does have that ignite instead of any defensive spells, so if he gets a chance, he's looking for some kills in that mid lane, and it can happen when you have that Gragas thanks to the stun coming in from Body Slam. Oh, Lyra going all the way around. Tucson, did he spot him? I don't think so. I think he was a little too far. Oh no, we are going to see them go in. The Snowflower gets the stun onto Roar. The Zenith Blade connects, but not the shield slam right away. Ignar is going to get zoned out a little bit. He's slowed. And can he get out? Teleport coming in from Apple. And Ignar survives as Apple comes in as Meganar and gets the stun onto Snowflower. He needs to flash out. Apple jumps forward. Lyra taking a lot of damage. There's a Foster's Bomb onto Snowflake, or Snowflower rather. And they both eventually go down. Anarchy gives up 2 kills to Longzhu IM. Well, CV Max couldn't come down, of course, because he used teleport early on. And Ignar not using his flash early. I thought he was going to flash out, but that's going to lead to an early dragon. And I don't know, Longzhu IM once again in the lead quite a bit. I won't say the game's over just yet. It's not as bad as game 2 against winners, but it looks pretty bad. So watch here. The Zenith Blade connects, but Roar doesn't get stunned right away. Nice knockup by Ignar. He basically zones out all the damage And then top lane, of course, Apple is just like, hey, I got full meter. I'm going to go ahead and teleport. Sang-yoon was exhausted, so he gets chased away. Double stunned by Apple. Lots of damage onto Snowflare. Lyra does try to run away in a different direction, but Tusin's going to get him and then flash forward. Apple gets the kill there. And a double buff for Roar. It's pretty bad for Anarchy's bot lane at this point. And Ignar, I mean, I don't know. So far we're seeing that both Thresh and Alistar are really high priority picks for Ignar. So we'll see if that changes in game 2. The biggest thing is, though, is that Ignar is not, or not Ignar, Alistar is not a champion that like every support likes to play or plays a lot of. So you can't always aim to steal that away. Also, that changes your options for lane combos quite a bit too, to be honest. Now, CV Max did get his Skirmisher Saber right away, but Ninja Tabby on Apple. So Apple has no regard for this Rengar at this point. He's like, bring it. Especially once he turns into Mega Gnar. I mean, I'm not sure what CV Max is going to be able to do. Apple also not losing out on much CS. Pretty much dead even. CV Max will gain a slight lead once that wave pushes up, but... Uh-oh, Mickey coming up though, so is Lyra. Apple is just going to build that flash early. He did see Mickey coming in and also Lyra from the jungle. So, survives the gank. Not the end of the world. CV Max is going to have his teleport ready though, so whenever he wishes, he can try to even out that lane. And it's all quiet on Summer's Rift once again. Even on Lulu, I'd hope to see if Mickey can make some super plays for Anarchy. At the same time, Lyra, we'll see if he can make a difference going forward here from the jungle. I mean, in the past, we've had players like Gank My Mom and GBM and Baker making massive differences as the Lulu mid in their games, but other times, even the best mid laners seem to really lackluster on Lulu. It's just the nature of the champion. Lots of warding and lots of communication from Longzhu, though. That's what we've been noticing. And CV Max going to run right into Tucson. CV Max is level 6, but it doesn't matter if you don't get the first jump on them. With that Skirmish to Saber, he's going to be able to do a little bit extra damage with that Smite. And the true damage coming in from your autos. But it doesn't matter, because you knew backup was going to come if you extended the fight too much. Tucson still hanging out. Yeah, he is going to have to burrow out there. CV Max would have done a lot more damage if he didn't. Well, it's available for Frozen. Used it right away. Wonder if he used it just to... It doesn't look like he used it to really poke down Mickey. Probably just to secure the CS. Your ult is on a pretty low cooldown. Ignar gets to knock up right away and flashes out right as the explosive cast connects. And he's going to get knocked all the way back to safety. Well played by Ignar. Tucson's always at like 150 health every time we check in on him. I think he's just been jungling for as long as he can every time he can, which is good. It's pretty great. No exhaust on Anarchy either, because they took that Ignite for Leona, and it's really not paying off because usually you want that first kill in lane with that Ignite, and you didn't get it. So that could also bite them later on. Either, you know, it might help to exhaust the Rek'Sai if the Rek'Sai gets on your carries, or the Corki. You know, of course, because Corki doesn't have the longest range, so he's going to be pretty close during team fights. Or even the LeBlanc, if you can exhaust them first so that they can't like turn around and try to trade 1-for-1 or something like that in a team fight. The Ignite not going to be as useful later on. Nice whimsy from Mickey. Evens out that trade against Frozen. Actually gets another Glitter Lance and forces him to eat a biscuit. Oh, nice Glitter Lances from Mickey, keeping Frozen pretty limited. He does have Wild Growth, so Mickey basically has faith that he can, at minimum, survive a little longer in a trade, and therefore force Frozen to back off. Tucson is alright, and sees that ward, goes in and clears it. Meanwhile, Lyra is in Tucson's jungle, and alright, CV Max gonna try to just run away with his ultimate. And Apple's like, alright, cool, dude. I got my teleport. Far in the lane if you want, I'll be back. Now, alright, so Apple not teleporting. I was wondering if you would, because 20 seconds until that dragon. Coming up, the second dragon, of course, Longzhu took that very early one. After that bottom lane double kill. So Roar, will he continue to whittle down? Yeah, with Ignar, it looks like they'll just keep poking them down so that if they're at half health or so, that dragon's going to be a lot easier to try to sneak out for Longzhu. Frozen also dominating his lane pretty well. Although Frozen, it's about time that he would want to go home. His mana's okay, he has that chalice. He doesn't have any biscuits or wards though, whereas we're seeing a little bit of a difference in that area for Mickey. Mickey also has that Fiendish Codex. Not as aggressive as a mid laner, but still does a lot of damage with Glitter Lance and can keep the likes of Lyra alive pretty well. They're going to clear out the ward here at Dragon. There's a big signal for Anarchy. Will we see Dragon started by Longzhu? No, they're actually going to go in, and Lyra's going to get spotted by Tucson down near mid lane. He's going to get away just fine thanks to Lulu. But, I mean, look at this by Ignar. He roams so efficiently and oftentimes a lot just with Tucson. Apple not able to get the stun. If he did, Max would have really been zoned out from the lane. But with that Bomby Cinder, Max is feeling just fine. Meanwhile, Ignar waiting for Anarchy to just make one mistake. They might. Snowflower does have both his summoners up, so he's going to want to go in for a kill. Ignar really patient. Lyra activates the dragon, and there we go. Snowflower gets knocked back. There's a teleport coming in from Apple. Can Ignar get the knock up? He does onto Snowflower. The exhaust was on it. There's a Phosphorus Bomb. Solar Flare stuns Apple, and here comes CV Max at half health, though. Roar looks like he will just get that kill. Apple still alive, and his meter is back up. He will turn into Mega Gnar. Doesn't get the stun as Lyra finally body slams away after that wild growth. Well, Longzhu I am taking a pretty big lead once again. 4K at 12 minutes. Second Dragon Stab, 4 kills. And most likely a tower or two in a couple minutes here after this dragon. Anarchy, just all of their movements in these fights in bottom lane are just one step late. And in some ways, that's also reactionary League of Legends. I mean, they're not just like hightailing and running away and playing only to survive. In some ways, that's the good news. But so watch this. I mean, just the bait that Ignar has been waiting for. So patient. He waits until Snowflower really commits, knocks it back. There's the exhaust, so he can make sure he can catch up. Also gives Apple time to catch up. The knock-up. The Solar Flare is, I think, what did it. They're like, hey, maybe we can get Apple, but he flashes out from that barrel. Nice explosive cast to try to keep Rengar alive, but Apple now turns into Mega Gnar and is able to continue the fight. And now a 2-0-2 Gnar against a 0-1-0 Rengar. Yeah, Apple is just going to chase him to eternity, forces him to use his ultimate. Oh, and he got the ult onto Max! He knocks him back and finishes the kill. Oh, man. Well, well played by Apple. GG. I mean, all your lanes are once again... actually, mid lane, not exactly manhandling the lane, Frozen, but it's Lulu, right? All right, let's watch this from CV Max's vision if we can. I think that's what the observer is going to show us. Apple's like, all right, well, I'm pretty much already charged. And CV Max, I think, was expecting Apple to maybe boomerang again, and he didn't want to get hit by that, so he's trying to stay as close to him as possible. And like right behind him, but then he just turned into Mega Gnar. So a little bit of miscalculation from CV Max. Meanwhile, another nice hit onto Snowflower, but this time Roar takes a lot of damage. He flashes out from the Boomerang Blade, but he needs to run away. Ignar at full health though, and the Rocket Barrage, Missile Barrage coming in from Roar. So Sang Yoon will have to back off eventually. Anarchy looks like they could make a good play here in bottom lane, though. Missed an opportunity. Just good play from both sides, really, at that point, because Longzhu was a lot more ahead. CV Max is going to get caught by the stun. There's a knockup from Tucson. And the poor Rengar, the centerpiece of Anarchy's picks, is going to die eventually. And Apple, oh, he's so low, but there's the knockup. The red buff ticking, not going to be enough on Apple. Tucson zones Lyra out, and he'll also get out with a burrow under the wall. Meanwhile, nice glitter lance from Mickey, but this is the thing. I mean, it's going to be so hard to get a solo kill as Lulu. Sure, you're not allowing Frozen to completely snowball off of you as a champion, but if you're both CSing just fine at the same time, that means he's doing a really good job. Tucson ults back into the scene as Frozen had been coming up to this top lane. Lyra trying to avoid that as much as possible, and Frozen comes right back on his distortion. There's the second distortion coming up off cooldown, and will get the kill. Or off of his ult, rather. So Frozen gets an assist as Tucson picks up that one. Snowflower just clearing a ward as Sangyun was almost dead in that bottom lane off of those rockets coming in from Roar. It's quirky. Yeah, I mean, this was the story of mid lane, right there. That's what we saw the whole game, was Mickey basically shielding all the damage, and then farming out with Glitter Lance. The one advantage you want to get as Lulu at that point is to shove up the lane so hard that the LeBlanc can't farm. LeBlanc generally doesn't have the easiest of times last hitting under tower, but it looks like Frozen's said, all right, well then I'll just use my abilities to farm because we're not going to kill each other anyway, and if I'm even on farm with you, I'm going to be a lot stronger. So he chose that route and stays dead even. And still goes in for some harass. There's a Whimsy. Ah, it's because Ignar was showing up. He's a step late, but that's all right. And Sunflower is hanging out around Dragon. Wants to get some early vision on that. I mean, CV Max can't do anything here, and that really means the game is looking very, very grim for Anarchy. Almost over, because their team comp revolved around Rengar going in for assassinations. Well, yeah, Apple's just gonna, he's gonna keep showing up. Yeah, oh, and he's actually just gonna go in. He's so strong. He's right outside tower range too. CV Max right outside tower range. Doesn't get the hit. And Apple says, all right, if you're gonna hide, I'll take the tower. And he can run away once he turns into Mininar. Yeah, Mickey thought about coming back up because Apple, oh wow, the nice interrupt off of that ward on Mickey, and Frozen comes in. The chain doesn't connect, but there's the ignite. They will get the kill. Mickey didn't use his flash at the end. Wise choice by him. And Apple gonna get another interrupt on CV Max. This Gnar is out of control, everyone. I mean, he has a frozen Mal. You're not gonna do anything against this guy. Gnar tried to go for a gank on his own lane on Sangyun. Not gonna connect. Meanwhile, Roar has been pushing up the lane. Tucson and Ignar cut the bottom duo off from Anarchy. And Frozen goes in. Nice body slam from Lyra, but it's actually going to connect onto Frozen for the stun. He does push her into tower range, but wow, look at that burst off of the ult distortion there. This one is also one of those times where Longzhu can continue to just kind of play the lane phase over and over again as much as they want. CV Max does take this chance as Apple is fatigued to try to get that kill, and he does! Well played. Cinder Hulk helping out with that one. Tucson shows up. Not able to get over that wall. Meanwhile, Frozen takes a lot of damage. Actually goes back into Mickey, but all the way back into River. Wanted to dodge that last Glitter Lance, maybe, or maybe just a misclick. He's going to run away over to the Golems, or the Krugs, rather. Meanwhile, Snowflake, oh, well, Ignar wanted to run away for sure. I'm not going to connect. Nice dodge on the Zenith Blade, but Lulu showing up, and there's the slow off the Solar Flare. There's the exhaust onto Mickey, though, so Roar doing a lot of damage onto Snowflower. It's taking some time from Sangyun to join. Lyra also there, but here comes Apple. There's a teleport coming in from CV Max. Doesn't have his ultimate, but he is blocking a lot of damage for his team. But Apple's going to turn to Mega Gnar, and he does get stopped. He's looking for a good ult. Stuns 3 people against the wall. They're all so low health. Apple gets 1 kill, and the cleanup comes in from Tucson. And Apple Roar goes over the wall to chase down a straggler and to safety. Comes back for the kill onto CV Max. A triple for Apple. And this 715 Gnar is pretty happy. My oh my, I mean, you can't stop the pain train from this Gnar, both Mega and Mini forms. You know, it always makes you wonder, what if Longzhu IM played just like this against the other teams and champions all the time? It'd be an amazing team. Just saying. And you can. I mean, other teams do. It's not like this type of game doesn't only come out against amateur teams. I mean, we've seen such one-sided games in pro versus pro games too. Not as common, of course, so I don't expect any team to be able to do this like every game that they play. But the point is, if they can play with a similar mindset and a similar style, so that if they do have a disadvantage, they will also know how to come back from that. It'd be really interesting to see, because Longzhu IM has also, you know, had a lot of homebrew talent themselves in the past. So Apple now running amok everywhere on this map. Tucson comes up all the way to that top lane. They know that there's no flash, of course, on CV Max. There's no ultimate either. Lyra coming in, but gets stopped by Ignar. Ignar blocking out both Snowflower and Lyra. There's a nice solar flare. Zenith Blade going in, but Mega Gnar gets a double stun. CV Max going really low. Nice wild growth from Mickey as support, but here comes Frozen. CV Max leaps out of the brush to avoid a little bit more damage. He's still alive, but Frozen putting down a lot of damage. Zenith Blade over the wall from Snowflower to try to stop Frozen. Frozen gets caught by Mickey, and Snowflower eventually goes down to Snowflower. And they trade 1 for 1. Sang Yoon comes in and picks up that kill. There's the speed coming in from Lulu, but Apple eventually going to stop that chase on Tucson. Nice turnaround from Anarchy, and CV Max learned, Sang Yoon taking a lot of damage from that Frozen Mount. He leaps over, gets Zenith Bladed. Shield of David coming in, but here comes Roar for the cleanup. He's going to get 2 kills, and Sangyun's got no exit. Tucson gets the knockup. Oh no, he doesn't connect, but Tucson still gets the kill. Simply feels bad for Roar. Anarchy chased a little too far. They were like, all right, we won the fight. Let's push top lane. We're all here. Let's get that one tower that we want in this game. Didn't happen. Longzhu IM. They want to deny all objectives from Anarchy. And it looks like they might actually finish the game with that score of 0 towers, 0 dragons if Longzhu keeps this up. .309 Tucson. Tucson really having golden scores for junglers in all of the games of Longzhu today. Really want to see how he does against the other top tier junglers that we've had here, especially, you know, the likes of Tom. Meanwhile, Lyra gets caught, and here's a Frozen Mallet again. Explosive cast just to try to stay alive, but there's the chains. It's going to keep him snared. The Wild Growth and the Solar Flare not going to do much as Frozen stays at full health, and the Zenith Blade leading Snowflower to his own death. Boomerang Blade not going to do much. Chains connects once again. Frozen picks up another kill. Nice. Poke coming in for Roar over the wall. Tucson was the one guarding that top tower. While we see Apple here in mid, helping take the mid tier 2 for Longzhu. Tucson actually challenged CV Max to a fight. And, oh, hi there, Mickey. Or Mickey's hat. The only thing left. Tucson's still fighting, because if he can keep him low enough, it's going to be an easy kill for Frozen as he shows up. We do have the ultimate from CV Max activated, though. Oh, is he going to fight him? He sees him with his sight and tremor sense, and CV Max is going to get caught. Rek'Sai too strong. Meanwhile, Frozen just zoning out the rest of Anarchy as his teammates pick up another kill in that top lane. Makes Rengar 1-6-2, the centerpiece of Anarchy's team comp, completely dismantled. And Roar showing up with the Blade of the Ruin King, tons of damage. And Apple shows up. Oh, he doesn't get the stun as Snowflower flashes away, but does get the slow. Mega Gnar just ended though, so no more stuns, but tons of damage onto Snowflower. Lyra also gets snared down under. Ah, so close to, he does get it with the red buff tick. Roar Now 7, 0, and 6. 10, 1, and 11 Gnar from Apple. Clear out the vision and then we jungle. Longzhu looking to secure yet another win. And it looks like they just want to do a 3-man Baron. Frozen gonna keep people company in mid lane. Wow, Mickey really is taking quite a bit of damage. Only really has it a need to finish in terms of core items. We have that void step also finished for Frozen. And Longzhu will pick up the Baron at 25 minutes with a 24-3 kill score, 5 towers to none, 3 dragons to 0. A nice spell shield by Sangyu, but look at that, still takes so much damage. If no one else was there, Frozen would have put down 2 more auto attacks and then Ignite to kill him. Lots of gold on this guy. Might want to spend that. It will make you stronger, I guarantee it. Even if Frozen picks up a Randuin's, it would make him stronger right now. And over, wow. Okay, well, we have a 17k gold lead also for Longzhu. I was looking for a window out for Anarchy, but it's looking pretty hard to find an answer for them. CV Max also just going for the Randuin's after his skirmish to Saber, so not really going to count on Rengar to really, burst someone down crazy. Ignar showing up in that jungle. Longzhu does steal that red away from Sangyun on Anarchy. Vision still being denied very well by Longzhu. And Anarchy really just kind of has to wait. The only option they really have is if Longzhu makes a mistake, if they dive too crazy or something like that, if LeBlanc dives and has a turret aggro and you can go from there or something like that. But at this point, it's not even Frozen that you're worried about. I mean, sure, he's got a lot of items, he's 4-1-4, but what is this? 706 Corki with the Last Whisper, Triforce, and Blade of the Ruined King. You got that Frozen Mallet, Randuin's Gnar, and Mickey gets targeted. Oh, he's already down to a little under a quarter of his health. Tucson and Frozen looking for the kill. We're going to see the Wild Growth used early, so Tucson just looking for a knock-up. Not going to get it, but from the back comes Ignar, pushes Mickey back, tower down, as Frozen and Tucson keep doing a lot of damage, and Apple now just ticking away, keeping everyone zoned with that Frozen Mallet. Snowflower just hoping that maybe people don't see him as he boards back. And they'll take this top inhibitor. Longzhu's looking really good against these teams, and these two teams, Anarchy and Winners, were supposed to be the quote-unquote stronger teams from the challenger scene, although they don't have the #1 seed spot based on points. But just given how impressive they were, wow, instant stuns coming in from Apple. He's like, yeah, game of my life, 13, 1, and 11. What's up? Carry top laners are back. So Anarchy on blue side this time. I'm not really sure how else I can hype up Anarchy anymore at this point. I'm just really excited to see what else Longzhu IM can do. I'm also really excited to see if Lilac is going to show up to carry hard or kind of just be really reliable or whatnot. Basically see where Lilac is at in his League of Legends career. There's Lyra, Mickey right before that, kind of the two spotlights on Anarchy before the first game. After that one, I'm not really sure where the spotlight needs to fall for Anarchy. Alright, well, Rek'Sai, man. Tucson's Rek'Sai does look really good, but you saw him picking Lee Sin in the match against Winners, so... And at this point, Longzhu IM might ban out Gragas again at the end, just to ban out all the junglers or the two top tiers, and force something a little bit more passive like Sejuani. Although people like Tom really play an aggressive Sejuani, so maybe Lyra will do that. Azir and Cassiopeia, are they gonna take LeBlanc away? Because Mickey is he is an assassin player. I think IM might just give that a shot. Yeah, Kalista definitely a higher priority. Even if LeBlanc is open, most teams will prefer to take that Kalista first. Are we going to see that LeBlanc getting taken away? Because if not, I'm pretty sure Frozen will just first pick it again on IM. You're already leading 1-0. You only need one more game to get your spot back in Champions. You play a good LeBlanc, even if you're not the hyper carry on the team. You still went 4-1-4, and the only reason you went 4-1-4 was because your teammates did more damage by that point, because they were like 10-0-9 or something like that. And wow, and then the Thresh first pick. Okay. They're really targeting Ignar, but that means, yeah, the Gragas goes over. Will the LeBlanc go over again? Yeah, I mean, Tucson's like, are you serious? Really? You banned out all of that just to give me this? Yeah, you know, I don't know. Ignar's Alistar was just as scary in my opinion. So why prioritize the Thresh so much? I mean, that can really change the bottom lane dynamic for sure. And we still have these other options in 80 carries, right? Because Kalista was the only one banned out. Jinx is open. Jinx and Thresh is pretty good. I mean, Lucian Thresh is also pretty good. Vladimir coming out for Mickey, maybe. He did play pretty mean Vlad. Oh, the Ahri coming in. All right, so Ahri LeBlanc. I mean, we saw this at MSI. We had a nice chat about it on the Korean cast. Yeah, I mean, Urgot was open too. I don't know. I'm a little confused by the picks and bans from Anarchy. It's a little surprising that like Jinx and Urgot were both open. Urgot not as prioritized anymore, but I mean, Jinx was there. You have Thresh. But I think because they have Thresh, unless it's simply to steal it, IM has no intention of taking Jinx away. Yeah, so Urgot's fine, actually. You have the hyper carry in LeBlanc. LeBlanc versus Ahri, in lane at least, is a bit of a skill matchup. Now, what does explain a little bit from the picks and bans is, of course, the amateur teams don't have a coaching staff. They don't. I don't believe Winners had a coach either. Anarchy definitely does not. Yeah, Winners doesn't either. So, I mean, yeah, in the past, it was all the players who did it anyway, regardless of what happened backstage in the booth. But IM does have coaches right now in the booth helping with the picks and bans. So there's a little bit of an advantage that you have more brains and more people to bounce ideas off of during picks and bans. Anarchy is really probably just kind of working on what do we know best. And lots of discussion happening among the players. They're like, it looked like Snowflower wanted to put CV Max back on Rengar, but I agree, it looked like CV Max wasn't up for it, and I agree with him. I think Nara is the better pick here. Oh man, the coach behind Lilac, do they have something special prepared for us? Lilac's talking a lot to his team. I think I'm just getting everyone's hopes up. I think it's just going to be something really quiet like Maokai. My bet's on Maokai. I mean, you can pick a number of other things, but... Aww, that's sad. Anyway, Lee Sin was locked in earlier for Lyra too, so that's fun to watch. So, Ahri versus LeBlanc. So, personally as a player myself, who I like playing both, I actually... Oh! Kennen! Ah, yes, thank you, Lilac. Our man in the red sweater is starting to question his life choices of coming and sitting in the front seat and speaking out for Anarchy and Winners. Leading the crowd to at least send some cheers to Anarchy also. Oh, it's Teacher's Day in May. And so, of course, on Teacher's Day, we gotta pay our respects to Professor Lilac. Interesting fact in case... Oh, wow. CV Max. Lilac got hit by the boomerang coming back. CV Max was like, oh, shoot. That's funny. So... No. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, Interesting note is that in Korea, you only have Parents' Day. You don't have Mother and Father's Day separately.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Just, came up because we talked about Teachers' Day. We also have a Teachers' Day. It's like an actual global thing, not just in your teachers. Like, hey, today is Teachers Appreciation Day. Comes out over your morning announcements in homeroom. Gosh, I miss high school a little bit, actually, to be honest. Middle school was cool too, I guess. I think I had relatively enjoyable times in middle and high school. But right now I have great times watching video games and talking about them with all of you guys. So Mickey and Frozen, I really think a lot lies on there. I think with any team, right? If you pick Ahri LeBlanc, the moment you lock those two champions in, how those two players do matters so much for the game. I mean, yeah, if there's a massive discrepancy in another lane, I mean, that's going to be true for any team comp. But Ahri versus LeBlanc, once one person falls behind, it can start to get really iffy for the other. So, matter a lot. Meanwhile, Jinx and Thresh is going to be a pretty good lane. Starting level 2 and 3 if you can layer your CC. But at the same time, Urgot is pretty tanky. And so is Alistar, especially post level 6. But before level 6, Ignar is going to have to watch out a little bit. Thankfully for them, earlier level 2, and he's going to start healing himself back up. Lyra possibly looking for an early gank. No, yeah, he's only at half health. He's going to go back home. Uh-oh, Mickey gets hit, and there's the flash body slam onto Mickey. Tusa takes a lot of damage, but the Ignite and the last auto attack going to help Frozen pick it up. Meanwhile, Lyra does come back as Snowflower lands that hook, but the instant teleport coming in from Lilac chases him away, and then he cancels it, so they go back onto Roar. They flash forward, Lyra gets to connect, but he doesn't have another hit. He gets it in. He didn't get his E, and there's the flash forward from Sang-yoon. They got it in the end, but they did use a little more than they needed to. I think Lyra instantly connected his E. I don't know if it was actually on cooldown. Maybe it was. I wasn't watching carefully. Now, either way, the Lilac, I mean, I think maybe he canceled a little too early, but it might have been in the last like 1.5 seconds, so you can't really fault him at that point. But he figured, all right, well, they're backing off, so I'm going to cut it off. But Snowflower responded really well and instantly flayed Roar back. And Roar did step forward a little bit, so maybe a little bit of miscommunication. What matters a lot, though, is that Frozen comes back with the Fiendish Codex, and Mickey is forced to buy a second Doran's Ring, which, yeah, it sets Ahri back quite a bit. I mean, there have been times where a second Doran's Ring can do wonders for any mid laner, including Ahri, but you know, it says a lot. I mean, 2 Doran's Blades is one thing for AD carries, but 2 Doran's Rings has a very different feel to it for mid laners. And 2 Doran's Shields says a lot about top laners, so you know, we can all see kind of how that goes. Now, Mickey's still able to farm and whatnot, though, so if Mickey can turn things around at level 6, especially with a gank or with a roam, then things can still change. It's not over for Ahri just yet. It's just a lot tougher. And at this point, especially with stronger power, Frozen's not going to be afraid to try to jump into trade if he wants to. Still, it depends a lot on how the lane management is done. But yeah, look at this. I mean, Mickey, here's the thing. Mickey can't sacrifice any CS at this point because he died once. Whereas Frozen can just go in like this, and it hurts a lot, but nice charm through the minions, blows the flash, but Lyra chases through. Can he get the kill? One more hit. Mickey not able to get the last hit, but Lyra picks it up. Evens things out just a little bit in the mid lane. Tucson was around, but I think they weren't expecting Frozen to get caught by that charm because Frozen went in and brought Mickey down so low. Meanwhile, Ignar gets caught out quite a bit, actually, by that minion wave. But nice gank in mid, nice charm by Mickey. Post distortion. So yeah, I mean, one way to do it is you can charm them as soon as they come in for a distortion, if they come in like into your minion wave, because then you can delay their damage. Sure, they can distortion back, but they'll take a lot of damage from the minions, and they'll be scared to trade again. Or you can try to charm as they go back onto their distortion, in which case you can continue to do damage. So it's whether you're looking for a kill or just looking for a better trade. And Mickey successfully charms him after he jumps back. A little unfortunate for Mickey is that he didn't get the last hit on Frozen, so he only got that assist, which means Frozen's still slightly ahead. But Mickey going ahead and going for that Negatron Cloak, which doesn't add a lot of damage, but it's actually going to even things out a lot more against LeBlanc, because Ari will have a little bit more sustained damage, a little bit more poke. And, I mean, Longzhu IM knows exactly what's going on here. They jump in. Ignar got caught a little too early, though, but the kick actually saves him for a little bit. And Snowflower had to flash forward, but Lilac comes in, and he gets a kill. Can they chase forward? They're just going to go ahead and settle for Snowflower, it looks like, and they will pick it up. Roar getting that second kill. Nice teleport. The ping's going down from top left for Anarchy. They're like, push, push, what are you doing? Something that we've all experienced if we play top lane. It's so cute. And Gnar will do a decent job of pushing it in. He's going to waste at least a minion wave for Lilac. But that really just means CV Max is going to catch up more than anything. So IM, they want to really extend that lead a little bit, because until now it was kind of going back and forth. So Tucson trying to solo this dragon. He's going to need a little bit of help. Frozen's going to show up. But that's going to give the signal for Anarchy. Longzhu should get the dragon, and Tucson, alright, he'll get out just fine at this point. Lilac tried to interrupt the back. Not going to succeed. And wow, Kennen with that needlessly large rod. So with the kill and the assist, Ignar in quite a bit of trouble. Didn't connect with the slow though, but there's a hook. And there's a lantern as Lyra shows up. A heal coming in and the flash, and the rocket not, the super mega death rocket not going to connect from Sang Yoon. It also got nerfed a little bit from close range, so I don't know if it would have been enough to pick up the kill. Alright, so Negatron Cloak and Venus Codex still the scene pretty much for the mid lane. The boots coming in from Frozen, which can matter a bit against Ari, because Ari, again, gets that movement speed buff from Orb of Deception. Also can chase with Spirit Rush. Yeah, so Mickey feeling a lot better about trading now. CV Max in a lot of trouble. Needs the large rod. Oh my goodness, explosive cast all the way back. And Lilac not afraid to flash forward because he had 2 charges on CV Max. Picks up the stun. He knew he could secure the kill if he flashed forward. CV Max didn't have a chance to respond with his own flash. And even if he did, he would have gotten hit pretty hard eventually. Man, is Lilac going to carry this game? I don't know. Meanwhile, Tucson 004. Tucson! This guy. And forget Gank Zero being the new def. Tucson looking to be the new... Well, I don't know. I won't go as far as Dan. Maybe the new Banker, right? Oh, Frozen gets caught with a charm, but Tucson shows up with a body slam flash, and Mickey is going to have to Spirit Rush away. He's only going to use 1 charge to try to make sure that he can save it for when he really needs it. He's really low, has Flash and Ignite. Wasn't able to jump over the wall, but Anarchy looking to steal the blue. Mickey doesn't want to stick around for too long. He has no mana to help with that anyway. So just going to go home as Lyra steals that blue. And looks like Frozen going to the enemy blue to check for that. Yeah, with Tucson. So they're actually going to trade. So Mickey loses out on this one because Frozen will pick this one up for himself. And Lyra is in for a surprise. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Frozen. Yeah, he eventually got it. Tucson just stealed it away from Lyra. So Mickey eventually loses out on that blue buff trade, which is a bit unfortunate. Alright. 0-1. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Sang Yoon gets caught. There's the exhaust, and Urgot trying to chase through, flashes forward. One more shot, he picks up the kill. Flower just going to get whittled down. Meanwhile, on top lane, a nice ultimate from Lilac. He's going to stun, but Meganar comes in, sends him backwards. Wow, double stun, tons of damage. Snowflower, meanwhile, got dove, but does make it out alive. Now, Mickey really needs to make something happen here in the mid lane. Frozen making the right idea to force the trade once the charm goes down, but they even out. But again, if they even out for too long, and especially because the rest of Longzhu are winning their lanes, it's going to be pretty dangerous. Oh, wow, Leora and Frozen right next to each other. And Mickey just going to farm safely for now. Frozen comes back into the lane. So Frozen's a little bit scared of the charm, especially because Mickey landed that really nice one earlier on. But the point is that Frozen's okay with this. His teammates are winning. He just needs to even out, and then he can kill Jinx later. Not a big deal. But for Mickey, let's say even if you get ahead a little bit in CS, I mean, who are you going to kill? Maybe you can kill Kennen, maybe. Although Kennen's going to have a Zonius, so probably not. Now, so this mid lane, so yeah, Lyra putting down a lot of attention onto this mid lane and whatnot, because they realize, I mean, they need to make something happen for Ahri. Ahri is kind of their one hope, because at this point, going to these other lanes can be really dangerous for Lyra himself. And mid lane has the most hope, because Ahri can even out from LeBlanc, so a 2v1 could make a big difference, but Frozen just playing super safe. Lyra roaming around as much as he can to try to get an opportunity for a gank. Not the most vision from IM, but the ones that they need. And then Tusin also spotting Lyra there at the end of that roam into the jungle, saying even taking some damage from it. Snowflower's hook chasing IM back a little bit. Lyra gets hit, does get snared, but there's a charm from Mickey onto Tusin. Mickey does some decent damage, but doesn't have his items finished just yet, so not the most. Not anything that Mickey feels that he needs to really commit to, especially with Alistar coming back up. So we're back to this. And this. Where Anarchy just has to wait and promise that they'll buy Mickey chicken if they win the game, so that Mickey can find some hidden superpowers to carry the game and tie it up 1-1. That's really the best hope for Anarchy at this point, I feel. It doesn't look too massive. Mickey tried to go for an all-in and got a lot of damage onto Frozen, but the charm into minion, Lyra shows up in lane and just kind of sits there and asks Mickey if he's alright, and he says he is. So both junglers will back out. Meanwhile, Lilac putting down a lot of damage onto CV Max. I mean, yeah, it's 2k gold at 15 minutes, which is a decent amount, but it's not like they got completely stomped and they lost all their first turrets or something like that. But the way that the lanes are starting to pan out is pretty bad for Anarchy. I mean, especially this Kennen. Man, if you shut down a Kennen, there is nothing he can do, but it's also pretty hard to because he can run away. But regardless of that, if he can't get an early Zonias, like, what are you going to do in team fights? But now he's going to have his Zonias by the next team fight. He'll be able to ult at will and then avoid a ton of damage. So you really got to do something against Frozen. And I think Lyra understood that before, but just not enough opportunities presenting themselves. Frozen also playing really well. Uh-oh. Anarchy thinks they went back. Snowflower takes a lot of damage trying to slow down the enemy team. He is going to be successful in denying advances from Roar and Ignar. But that's Thresh's ult down for a dragon fight, so Longzhu IM's okay with that. They have all of their ults, except for LeBlanc's, but Ahri's is down, and LeBlanc's is on a super low cooldown. And Tusin's just going to go ahead and start that. Yeah, I mean, the bottom lane has the advantage. Thresh went home, so Alistar is going to be able to provide support. I don't think Longzhu is too worried about this dragon. Lyra has been spotted up top. Yeah, Longzhu is definitely fine for this dragon. Frozen, just trying to keep Lyra occupied. Lyra eventually finds a ward. But the second dragon going to Longzhu. Oh, wow, that was pretty close from Snowflower. But not going to happen. Longzhu, 2 dragon stacks. Now 2.5k add, or more than that actually, a little bit more. Mickey does have that Abyssal Scepter. It's going to help. quite a bit, especially against double AP. And Ari just in general, synergizing really well with the Abyssal Scepter given how her abilities work. Not able to tag Frozen with these Orbs of Deception though. Man, if you get, just one tag even, that really changes the dynamic of the lane. But Frozen's been playing really safe. And then just going in when he finds the opportunity to. Mickey tries to go in for the all-in, but Frozen was also just trying to bait with Ignar. Snowflower comes out, gets the hook onto Ignar. Ignar takes a lot of damage from Mickey. Explosive cast keeps Mickey against the wall, and they are going to give the kill to Frozen. Frozen backs out right as he was almost in danger with that Ignite. And, oh, the rocket blocked by Roar. Giant enemy crab god, #1 tank in League of Legends. So, yeah, well now even that hope for the mid lane is gone for Anarchy. So Longzhu IM looks like they'll be on their merry way. Basically, their objectives and their goal overall as a team is pretty straightforward from this point on. Whereas Anarchy really need to fish for ideas here for comebacks. Probably the closest we've had the match so far, though, in today's game so far. The earlier 3 games were all pretty straightforward, one-sided for Longzhu IM. Now, Nar, okay, obviously wants a little bit more items. But we're jumping into a team fight, but with Mega Nar should be not too bad. Frozen choosing to enchant his boots right away. Doesn't have to be a super hyper carry from early on because Kennon's also really well fed. Black Cleaver, the new Black Cleaver coming out for Roar, should be pretty good. Really like the new drawing of it too. The new graphics for it. Yeah, CVMax is gonna have trouble against Kennen 1v1 though. That's not gonna change for pretty much the rest of the game. Except maybe once you have 6 items both, but that's a long ways away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, now that things have been going really well, Tucson and Ignar just roaming about together. Snowflower simply sending out his hook to protect his teammate while they harass a little bit, but tons of vision coming in from Longzhu IM. Yeah. Oh, Frozen jumps out of that hook. And that bottom turret gonna go down here. Observer pointing out the new Black Cleaver and its new icon. Roar doing his best to basically deny as much as possible from Anarchy in this bottom lane. Gonna avoid that hook too. Meanwhile, Frozen challenges Mickey to a duel. Gets some good damage on him. Mickey not able to respond. Nomicon a little ways away. Doesn't have boots yet either, so that's also a pretty big difference between him and Frozen. Frozen's got that magic pen on top of the Nomicon. Of course, Mickey has a magic pen from the Abyssal, and the move speed not as crucial when you get a move speed buff on your Q. Uh-oh, goodbye, Snowflower. It was nice knowing you. Or Thresh. Oh, meanwhile, Frozen. Passive is pop. Tucson has to run away, but Lyra not gonna let him. There's the explosive cask. Yeah, I guess when you Cinderhulk, Gragas is. Oh, Mickey almost would have gotten that charm. Whoa, Frozen thinks he can challenge him for the kill. Nice flash away from Mickey, but Frozen, oh, he almost survived, but the return from the Orb of Deception evens out that kill. That still doesn't feel too good for Mickey, but man, it could have been a really intense trade and an epic kill for Frozen. Watch this. So Frozen's like, all right, I think if I pop that, and then I pop the second sigil too, I can get the kill. Mickey flashes away from the distortion though, but then the return on the Orb Deception. I actually think maybe the Ignite would have finished him off anyway, given that they are level 13. But it was a pretty flashy duel, which ended up in both players' time. I mean, if Mickey was even with Frozen on gold, Mickey would have won that duel, I think, outright. but sadly, he wasn't. He was behind. And he still is. Now, Frozen, the worst score he's had all day, I believe, but it's fine. LZIM is winning by quite a bit. 6K gold lead now in 20 minutes. Now, what can Anarchy really do here? Dragon's up in 10, and Gnar has teleport. Mega Gnar will be down here in a little bit, so he's going to have to wait, you know, a few more seconds before it comes back up. But he does have his ultimate once he turns into Mega Gnar available. Kennen is returning top lane. Oh, never mind. Kennen's teleport just came back. So he doesn't have that advantage either. In terms of items, not a huge advantage there either. Okay, they got the tier 1 in mid. Force LeBlanc to distortion away with her ultimate. But Ignar and Tucson are waiting for a poor mini Gnar. Oh, gets sent right back to LeBlanc. There's the chains. There's the knockup. Disrupts the hop. He still jumps out though. Kennen coming in. Anarchy needs to run away. This Kennen is pretty angry. Kennen not able to get any solid stuns until he flashes forward. Gets a double stun. Gets the kill onto Gnar. Sang-Yoon gets caught. And so does Snowflower. The Crab God is coming. Meanwhile, Mickey gets caught by Tucson. Lilac coming in and doesn't get the Q hit. Can they still follow forward though? And they will pick up the kill. Tucson picking that one up. Longzhu, I am all good friends. Sharing kills. Sharing is caring. 207 Tucson. My goodness. How many deaths has he had all day? I want to say maybe only like 2 or 3. Yeah, so, I mean, this was just brutal. He didn't get body slammed, but look at this. He gets knocked up mid-hop, and he gets chained. Tons of damage. He does flash out, and Lyra tries to zone out Frozen, but Frozen's up full health, low mana, but look at Lilac. Comes in, he gets knocked up, he's like, oh shoot, flash forward, get the kill onto Max. Roar switches spots with Snowflower to get closer, and he'll pick up the kill on Sang-Yoon, and then turns right around to pick up the kill on Snowflower. Just really good coordination from Longzhu in that fight. 12-5, 3 Dragon stacks. Longzhu got that 3rd dragon while we were watching the replay. 4-1 and 2 Urgot, 0-1 and 8 Ignar. It's gonna be really tough for Anarchy to find a way to climb back into this. I mean, even in professional matches, if you're somewhat evenly matched, it's going to be a tough match to climb back into. And these are the matches that, you know, like the old Samsung Light would have climbed back from. You know, the SKT teams would climb back from. GE would sometimes climb back from. Same with CJ. But, you know, even in the regular season of Champions, the lower half of the teams would most often than not, have trouble from climbing back from such a deficit, and it'd be a miracle really to see Anarchy come back from this. The new Black Cleaver on Lyra's Lee Sin. Oh, okay, I can see that. Kind of. Oh, nice play away from Snowflower, but amazing explosive cast from Tucson. Mickey trying to just come in and help his teammates while also running away. Snowflake gets stunned by Lilac. And Ignar just tanking as much damage as possible while his teammates pick up a kill. Ignar is still alive. And Lyra, goodbye. Oh, flashes away or jumps over the wall rather. And Mickey will get killed with the chain coming in. The fadeaway kill from Frozen. They're not done yet. Lyra come over here. And he will get slowed. He just uses ward. His flash is down. And the crab. Wow, he was fishing for that crab though. Nice try, Lyra. With Baron now going to Longzhu IF. Well, it's looking like IM is going to secure their spot in Champions Summer 2015 without any issue. If they go 4-0 here, we can, you know, IM fans, get your hopes back up. Maybe IM can make it into the playoffs this time around. Well, I guess with this format being changed, you actually have to do really well to enter the playoffs at the end of the season. But maybe they won't get put into promotions, relegations next season rather. Nice explosive cast from Tucson. And Mickey comes over. Look at Ignar. He just doesn't die. Lilac walks in. He gets 2 hits onto both Lyra and Snowflower. And meanwhile, Ignar is basically zoning everyone out. Gets a double knockup on both Mickey and Lyra. Roar shows up and Frozen goes in. Fade away. Chain kill onto Mickey. Sang-Yoon gets dove by Lilac and Roar. Urgot pretty tanky right now. Another Black Cleaver on Gnar this time. Everybody liking the new Black Cleaver. Oh man, are we back for the League of Cleavers? I don't think it's as impactful as the first iteration in, I believe that was season 4. League of Cleavers. Oh no, maybe it was season 3. Yeah, I think it was season 3 actually. Oh, that's a while ago. Because I believe that was when I was still casting in the States when the preseason patch happened. But it doesn't matter because Longzhu is just cruising through. Urgot also with that Frozen Heart now. Void Staff added on for LeBlanc along with an Abyssal for himself.
파랑팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
I mean, Frozen is basically just on the hunt for Mickey at this point. 3-0 and 11, Tucson Gragas has that locked up the Iron Solari also for his team. Yeah, I mean, who on Anarchy is gonna make the difference for their team, right? I mean, I guess if you get an amazing Mega Gnar, Explosive Cast used a little preemptively for that Mega Gnar. I thought that maybe Anarchy. Oh man, a 5-man knockup coming in from Ignar! And then a 3-man stun, but it doesn't matter. Roar charging forward and doing tons of damage. Kennen gets a kill already. Snowflower gets caught back, trying to save his team. Roar still survives with the shield off of that tower, and the flash not gonna save Mickey. Holy cow. And that is game over. Surrender coming in from Anarchy.